Okay, this is probably 60 years old. Angular stone exposed. Let's see. Angular stone and a mixture of a very small pea, 1/8 inch size. And it's very stable. Very stable. Alright. Now, just some of that. Now we come here. This is a approximately 9-year-old slab I installed myself. I even ground this slab also for experimenting. This is pea stone, 1/2 inch minus, meaning 1/2 inch or smaller. You're looking at a cutaway of the stone. You can see the grinding. I wanted to see if it would cause flake, chips, or anything else from all the cycles of winter. I'm up to, I don't know, 7 years now. And no flaking, no chipping out, no spalling out. It's pretty stable. It has had some salt scattered on it. That's a little bit of salt. Not on purpose. I put the salt on the asphalt, not on this, but some of it just works its way over driving, etc. Let's saw cut. Let's take a look at a cutaway. And here's a cutaway of the 1/2 inch minus. Look at the compaction, pretty damn good. It's got a couple of air voids, but it's pretty darn awesome. Pretty damn awesome. So as you saw, that's a saw line when you're cutting the first pass and then the next pass, etc. But it's tight. If you look at the surface, the part you're worried about delaminating, you can see that it's tight there. Even with the rough saw cutting on it, that's probably just a cross cut from here, see? So, you can see how it's tight, even in the saw going into it. How it didn't flake, how it's stable on the other side. Now this is the exposed aggregate, ground exposed aggregate. I'm going to show you the same exact truck, the same exact mix now. And this is the same exact mix with just a reveal picture framed look, Sikaflex type product in the joints. And it's the same stone with just a swirl finish on it, mag swirl finish. And that's how you isolate that. That's too much steel. So isolate it. Consider where it's going to go, isolate it. The cuts allow for expansion. The caulk allows for expansion and contraction. And you get no other fractures around it. You may not like the way it looks, but I care about its functionality, that I don't want water getting under there. Same thing here. You may not like the way it looks, but I care about its functionality, isolating any fractures, allowing for expansion and contraction. In fact, there's no expansion against this pole, and you can see there's no fractures off of that pole. It allows for the expansion and contraction and the tension created by the bonding is all compensated for and allowed for and resolved through isolation and the size of isolation. So here's that mix. Again, swirl, just mag swirl finish. No broom, just magged. And of course it's time to clean up out here a little bit. The seasons are changing and things are coming down. But it's stable. This pad has no cracks in it. These are full, some of them are where you see, so that's full depth because it has a Sikaflex in it. And that one out here is full depth because Sika's there. It's not just there to stop it. This would be full depth, and those are not full depth, but they're so full depth probably here to here. How do I know it's not full depth? Because it doesn't have that little cross out. Over here it's full depth. It's because it goes beyond, see? And then here also. So the pad's isolated. This section probably has about this much concrete in it right here. But it's not enough because it's broken here with the full cut. It's not enough to cause an issue. There we go. See? It's not enough to cause an issue. I'm pretty damn good with crack isolation, and you may have to take the Sika type product to live with it, but you're not going to get a cracky uppy patty. All right, it rolls nice. It rolls nice. And this is 1/2 inch minus stone. 1/2 inch minus stone. Swirl mag finish, so we saw all three. I have more on this, but to give you, what I'm telling you guys, angular stone, it's a lot of work. You got to drag it differently when you're trying to pull it. It's terrible. But now if you're going to use fiber, then I do recommend you jack your water up. Your water's got to be way jacked up. It's not your typical concrete. If you put running 5, you might have to run a 15, depending on how hot it is, 15 gallons as opposed to 5 gallons because of the fibers. And it will compensate out. Just consider your bleed water. If you got a lot of bleed water, you got a lot of settlement. A lot of settlement means, maybe you overdid the water a little bit. All right? So consider that. And there's more to that than that, such as, again, temperature, how long that truck takes. Like my man, Grub, just shout out for. His truck came an hour away. If he ordered it with a 5, that shit has an initial set. I'll go over initial set times with you guys. It probably had initial set on the road, and he was dealing with concrete that was not plastic anymore. It was really hard to deal with, and they didn't want to bond together anymore. So you got to jack that water up, buddy, when you're dealing with fibers. I mean, jack it up, especially if it's an hour away. You'd rather have that stuff cool down where it can't start its initial set. You're delaying the initial set. Or if you know it's an hour away, put a decelerator, not an accelerator in it, put a decelerator in the mix also. And ask them, what is it rated for? Is it 1 hour, it's going to fade away? Or is it 2 hours, it's going to fade away? So each manufacturer batch plant will know their products. Don't assume you should just say, give me 2%. Don't say that. You don't know what their product is. Tell them what your intentions are. And if you can speak to the batch manager, ask to speak to them. They'll know better than the plant guy, the guy at the desk. He or she only knows what other people call in, and they're like, oh, well, the other people get this at this much, so yeah, I'll go with 2%. They're not the concrete expert for that material. Literally, the guy that's the concrete expert for that batch plant is the batch supervisor, as he samples each one of those materials, and he knows the behaviors of them. Take care. I have more for you, Grub. Wish you the best. Give a shout out to your dad. Figure that out. Figure that out, buddy, with you and your dad. Conflicts. I have a joke that never go to bed angry. Stay up all night and argue. So that's my joke. It's not productive, is it? So you have to realize you're the one triggered because you didn't throw the water the certain way that you wanted it. He didn't see it that way. So if it's getting the job done, he's still, I need more. Let him do it that way, or let him take over the mag and you place the water without losing it. That's a longer video that deals with the stuff you said I might lose you on, the amygdala theory, conclusive files. We'll have to dive into that. It's all about psychology and construction, though. Don't let that be underplayed when we have angers and tempers in construction and engineering and our prides and egos. They're really about conclusive files.